Hello.
Hello. We don't know if we're thing yet. We never know. We never know if we're thing. Oh Christ! Oh, I'm over here. Oh, we're thing.
We're thing.
We're thing now. Loud and clear. Hi Ben. I'm just reading the rude thing I wrote about him when he didn't know about it.
Oh yeah.
When he was doing his homework that he should have been doing last night.
Yeah. It's going to be seamless. You'll never know that I was doing it.
Well, I just told him. I've told him in there.
You'll know it there as well, yeah.
Well, we got to speak up because we've lost the fluffy bit on Rubbish Mike.
Yeah.
We've fluffy bit, and I forgot to put his eyes on him.
I've still got my fluffy bit.
You're going to have to shout.
I've still got my fluffy bit. That's the wrong bit. That's a bad thing to shout, isn't it? Really.
Right. So
the neighbours are going to get the wrong idea.
This is really uncomfortable. This was Connor's idea, and I've already got a rash, so that's going to make it worse.
Brilliant. What can possibly go wrong?
I don't know. Right. So we'll just should we wait a couple of minutes before I start reading the news?
Who's here?
I don't know. Ben's here.
Ben's here.
Ben's here.
Who else is here? Make yourself known in the chat.
Well, they don't have to.
Well, they don't have to.
It's up to them.
They don't have to, but Cosmic
them.
Twilight's there.
Hey!
Hello.
We'll be seeing you soon in Glasgow, won't we?
Yeah, Legends Conference. Can't wait.
Yeah, Legends and Myths.
Green Tea's here all the way from the US of A.
Hey.
Marvellous.
So we'll start with tinfoil hat news in a minute. God, this is so uncomfortable. I'm so itchy.
Green Tea, come over to the UK and come over to the conference. Come and see us.
I'm glad you can see that. I am as blind as a bat. Right then, we'll make a start, shall we?
Oh, Sihan.
Oh, hi.
Good evening.
Mark probably didn't say that right.
I apologise for any mispronunciations.
Yeah. Right, shall we make a start? I'm asking you.
Yeah, yes. I'm not in control here.
Oh, yeah, no, look at the light.
Am I ever in control?
Hold on. Look at that. It's him. I got this present for Christmas, and you could make your own whatever with it. And I tried to write Crafty Linus with it, but it just looked like a load of rubbish. Right. So I just did him.
Right.
So I've got Neon Froud.
I don't really need to be here, do I?
No. Get more fucking sense out of the blue one.
Yeah.
So we don't know if this is... We're going to buy a posher one, aren't we? Well, probably not.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to start with the news.
Exercise bike helmets. Yes, Ben. Stay safe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this is about stay safe.
This
is supposed to be stay safe.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
There you go. See?
Stay safe.
Exactly.
Right. Let's start with the news. Stay safe. Okay.
Oh, Sian's in New Zealand. So is Mary. I'm not sure if she's in tonight, but
I'm going to be doing the news.
Right.
Stop interrupting.
Okay, go for it.
The truckers are coming. The truckers are coming. A huge convoy, I'm going to have this, of truckers, possibly thousands, is heading towards 3 migrant hotspots to protect their country from invasion. Remember that word. The rigs are bound for Eagle Pass, Texas, Arizona, and California for a 4-day Take Back Our Border event, starting on January the 29th. Trump has urged all states to mobilize the National Guard to help Texas defend its border. @EndWokeness tweeted, "Holy shit. 25 Republican governors just signed a joint letter in support of the Texas resistance, while @Wall Street Silver played down the current events by proclaiming, Texas is authorized to engage in war. And then he goes on to cite why. Meanwhile, in Miami, videos of aliens on hillsides and videos of aliens in shopping malls have been accompanied by videos of aliens from different angles and videos of aliens coming out of portals from different angles and just plain old videos of portals and angles. But don't worry. The Daily Mail just posted a reassuring article entitled Internal Pentagon Report Warns America is unequipped to defend itself from the alien invasion. There's that word again. So basically, alien invasions this week. Terrestrial and extraterrestrial. Oh dear. Can't we just get back to some good old-fashioned sexualisation of children's stories? Stonewall Equality Limited. What the fuck's that, Liz? Stonewall is a lesbian, gay and bisexual plus transgender rights charity from England. Actually, it's the largest LGBT rights organisation in Europe. But that's okay, isn't it? Of course it is. So why are you banging on about it then? Why? Children. Children. What about them? Well, I found an article written by a 15-year-old called Jack Watson on the Daily Skeptic's website. It's also been posted on David Icke's website. I'll read it now. Bear with. Whoa. Hold that.
Okay.
Seamless.
I'm good at holding things. That's my role.
I'm going to read it now. Another brick in Stonewall's relentless campaign to indoctrinate school children. Nurseries, primary schools and secondary schools are signing up to a scheme telling them to stop calling students girls and boys. The scheme is run by, you guessed it, Stonewall, which has said it will give awards to schools that remove any unnecessary gendered language from the classrooms. Over 300 schools have signed up to this scheme. The charity advises teachers to refer to all children as they or young people and wants boys and girls to wear the same uniform. This takes place against a background of failing educational standards in literacy and numeracy. For example, every year it is estimated that 200,000 children leave primary school unable to read or write to the required level. 413,000 children do not own a single book, and 1 in 5 children struggle to read and write at all. And just to pour salt onto the wound, school closures as a result of 1984 have made these statistics even worse, with the reading skills of many disadvantaged children regressing during the pandemic. The percentage reaching the expected standard in reading fell from 75% to 67% between 2019 and 2022, then fell again from 69% to 58% in 2023. There are different badges attached to Stonewall's scheme, depending on how compliant the school is: bronze, silver and gold. For schools to be eligible for the gold badge, they must have been part of the scheme for at least 2 years and provide evidence of their commitment to inclusion in lessons, as well as have inclusive policies. Some examples of what schools can do, helpfully suggested by Stonewall, are: a PE teacher could address his or her class by saying, "Boys, girls and non-binary students, pick your team now."
What, 3 teams?
That's a pretty good point. It's going to be free. How's that work in tennis?
I know. I suppose they'd have to have mixed teams. Maybe.
You can't have mixed teams.
Can you not?
I don't know.
You can have mixed people. So you go.
Mark's already found fault with this. You're picking a team for football. How are you going to have 3 teams?
Well, I suppose.
That makes no sense.
Well,
pick your team now. Make sure members of staff are not using phrases such as "man up" or "don't be such a girl." And of course, schools should install gender-neutral toilets. Well, of course.
Of course. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, what possibly has been going wrong? It's already been going wrong.
Tell me more, Liz.
I'm not going to talk about it here.
Oh.
Okay. Any educational institution catering to pupils aged 2 to 18 can join Stonewall's scheme, with membership costing £99 per year. So, if the above 300 schools have signed up and it takes 2 years to get the gold status, Stonewall will earn £59,400. But if more schools sign up, this could become a real cash cow for Stonewall. Now, this is some promising news, Mark.
Oh, is it?
Promising.
Is it promising?
It's promising.
Oh.
The Department for Education has already shunned this charity, saying, "We withdrew from Stonewall's Diversity Champions programme in 2022 and have not funded any programmes related to diversity and inclusion schemes since to ensure value for money to the taxpayer." Furthermore, the UK government said last year that teachers and students who misgender a trans pupil should not face any sanction, and it is lawful for schools to dead name ban from some sports, reject from enrolment based on their trans status, and refuse any and all other forms of gender affirmation to trans kids, and that to recognise their identities as trans could qualify as indoctrinating children.
Oh,
that's promising.
Yeah.
In this statement, at least, the government has hit the nail on the head. Despite the Department of Education's disapproval, Stonewall continues to be involved in schools and push its woke ideology on children. This scheme will be worth keeping an eye on to see if it spreads to other schools. With any luck, it won't, and schools will focus on the quality of education they are providing rather than obsess over school justice. But I'd just like to point out that whole article was written by Jack Watson, who's aged 15. So his parents are doing a bloody good job, aren't they?
Yeah.
So good on you. Give me my bit of paper.
Oh, cool.
I haven't finished with him.
Oh, well,
I haven't finished.
I had a feeling you might.
No, I haven't finished with him. Right, you hold that.
Right.
You didn't bloody have this on bloody Channel 4 News.
No. Well, thank God.
Thank God.
Well, we're better than them.
Varmint, this person, in the comment section below this article writes, "So which is it? Go to school to learn how to think, or what to think?" Which I think just about sums it up.
Just about sums it up.
What are you doing? You've had 20 minutes to clean your glasses.
Well, I just...
Is it
there's a bit of light
unbelievable?
reflecting.
He expects me to do it bloody all.
I don't expect you to wipe your glasses.
Sit in there wiping your glasses. Right, that's the end of the news. Good night. But stay.
Yes.
Because we got the most... This is so itchy.
Right.
We got the most important bit now, haven't we? We got the quiz.
We got the quiz, everybody.
We got the quiz, everybody. Alison won it last week, and we sent her off for a little prize.
Yeah.
We never heard from her since, so that she must have been she must have been well happy with that.
She's probably reading it now.
Well, you've just given the bloody game away about what it was, haven't you?
Oh.
Right. Is everybody ready for the quiz?
That wasn't a quiz question, was it? What did Alison get for a prize? No. Anyway.
I've got a bloody hot head. Is everybody ready? Fingers on the buzzers, please. Now, you don't say A, B, or C, or 1, 2, or 3. Just write one of the words, or if you're really fast, the whole sentence, which is the answer. But put a word up there which relates to the answer. Otherwise, we get confused.
Some approximate
grouping of letters. Oh, thumbs up it and subscribe and hit a bell.
Yeah.
You got to say that quite often.
Yeah, you got to do that. Yeah, we don't see it enough, really, do we?
No.
No, do it all.
Thumbs, do it all.
Yeah.
Don't say it like that.
Well, please.
Please do it all.
Please.
Thumbs up it and hit a bell.
Please.
Right. Ready? Let's go. Right, I've got to do a lot of bloody reading here. I've got some learning for you as well, everybody. I've got some learning for you. So this isn't just about quiz and quiz answers. You get a bit of bloody school here as well. The order, here we go, number 1. Ready? The order, I've got an itchy head. The Order of the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, better known as the Knights Templar, were a mysterious order of warrior monks charged with protecting Christian pilgrims on the road to the Holy Land. They were also wealthy to the point of being able to refinance bankrupt kingdoms. Who was the last official Grand Master of this enigmatic order? Christian Rosencreutz, Hugh de Payenne, Bernard of Clairvaux. How did I choose this? Jacques de Molay. I won't be reading that again. I'm going to have to, aren't I? Yeah. Who was the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar? Christian Rosencreutz, Hugh de Payenne, Bernard de Clairvaux, Jacques de Molay. We need some music.
Dibby-dibby-dee.
And don't go bloody shouting things out like you usually do.
All right, I ain't shouting nothing.
Don't shout nothing.
I ain't shouting nothing.
Stop shouting.
All right.
Tinfoil hat quiz.
Oh, Degs. Welcome, Degs.
Oh, we know Degs.
Oh,
yes, we found you. We've got our stay safe hats on.
Yeah.
We know who you are.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah. Well, unless we got it wrong.
Unless we got it wrong again. We called some poor woman you last time, but we've never seen her since. Right. Okay, so the answer is Jacques de Molay. So who got that right first?
Well, Ben was in the first. Justin had a green tea, and Degs and Cosmic.
Oh,
they all got it right, but Ben
right.
was the first one in there.
He often is.
He often is.
Very clever man.
Very clever man. Panwo TV.
Panwo TV and the Cosmic Twilight. Everybody, our friends, go and subscribe to Ben and Cosmic Twilight. Go on. Right. So I'm going to give you a bit of learning now. Friday the 13th of October in 1307 saw the beginning of the official end for the Templars. Their property was seized. Members were arrested and charges were laid, mostly false. The fact is that Philip IV le Bel, King of France, with the aid of his Avignon puppet Pope Clement V, wanted the Templars' money and an end to Templar power. De Molay was nailed to the back of a door in a parody of Christ's crucifixion. He survived this torture and lived for another 7 years until he was burned at the stake in 1314. At his execution, he proclaimed that he would meet both the king and the puppet Pope at a higher court within a year. Both Philippe and Clement were dead less than 12 months after his proclamation. Oh, look.
Ben's birthday.
Maybe Ben didn't want people to know that. We keep doxing people all over.
Why would you put it in the chat if
you
want people to know it?
I thought you were doxing Ben again.
Ben is secretly the head of the Knights Templar.
Yeah, they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They just went up to Scotland and started the bloody Freemasons.
Yeah, and then he came to Oxford and it's Ben.
Yeah. Ben de Molay. Right, a bit of learning.
He's not a bender.
I'm going to...
Back to stone. No!
I'm a bit hot.
Oh, Christ. Right.
I've took my hat off. Stay safe. Right, number 2. In 1973, Britain was forced to leave the EFTA, which is the European Free Trade Association, for the EEC, European Economic Community. The then Prime Minister, Harold Wilson, believed that a secret society, which he referred to as the Gnomes of Zurich, was pulling the strings to force Britain to join their trade bloc. To which society was Wilson referring? The Freemasons, the Committee of 300, the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati. Freemasons, Committee of 300, Rosicrucians, Illuminati. Bubble, bubble, bubbly bow, boo. We'll wait a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have a drink.
What are you going to say? You had a gin?
No.
It's not a gin.
It's not gin.
Not gin.
Not enough. Right. The answer is the Illuminati.
Oh.
Oh, did anybody get that?
No.
Yes, it did. Ben put Loomies.
Oh, I thought we just meant loonies.
Honestly, he's got one pigging job in this whole bloody setup. Read that.
Right. Okay.
I can't even see it and I can read it better than
it's
you.
Ben again.
Why do I bother? They are loonies.
Sorry, Degs. Good job.
They are loonies. Well done, Ben.
Yeah. Well done, Ben. Green tea got in there.
But a bit of learning.
Well, but just behind Ben.
The Bavarian Illuminati was established as the Order of Perfectibilists. I've been practicing that. By Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria in 1776. Although modelled on the Jesuits, the order was almost diametrically opposed to their teachings. The Illuminati wanted to overthrow all government and clergy and abolish ownership of property. They still do, don't they?
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab, just saying.
All continues,
Schwab.
Yeah.
Well, nothing. I do will be happy.
Yeah, Bavarian Illuminati. Now
Same
Klaus
thing.
Schwab, from an old town in Germany. All follows.
Right, number 3. What was the name given to the objects? I'm going to have to say this one really fast. Sighted by military pilots during the Second World War. Unknowns, bogies, rods, Foo Fighters. Objects sighted by military pilots during the Second World War. Unknowns, bogies, rods, Foo Fighters. Oh. They've all got it right. Who's first?
It's Ben again.
Ben is sweeping the boards.
Yeah.
Ben's sweeping the boards. Ben, are you sure you want to win this? You had a prize last time, and it went. You know how shit the prizes are.
So close. Close.
Well done, everyone. So, a bit of learning. The famous Foo Fighters of World War II were bright balls of light, about a foot in diameter, of different colours, that appeared mostly over Germany to both German and Allied pilots. Although the Foo Fighters could manoeuvre around and through bomber formations with apparent ease, they were nuisances rather than physical threats. Most of the Foo Fighter reports made by Americans came from the 415th 9th Fighter Squadron. If the Foo Fighters were a natural phenomenon, one would expect at least a few modern reports from the thousands of commercial and military aircraft in the skies.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if I'm going to say this one right. Cleromancy is getting to know your fate by seeing through, for example, a crystal ball, casting something, for example, a dice, staring into the eyes of yourself or someone else to clear your mind to see, or using the magic 8 ball. Cleromancy. Seeing through, for example, a crystal ball, casting something, for example, a dice, staring into the eyes of yourself or someone else to clear your mind to see, or using the magic 8 ball.
Unfortunately, Sian's internet's lapsing a bit from New Zealand, so she's answering things. The answers coming through when you read the next question.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but thank you for taking part.
We're just going to sit back and watch the action.
Yeah.
Look at his little blue face. We'll sit back and wait for everybody to get their answers.
There's some answers coming in. Green Tea, Degs and Cosmic have all given an answer so far. Ben says he don't know.
Oh, well, the answer is casting something, for example, a dice. So, cleromancy, casting something, for example, a dice.
Right.
Okay.
No one got that one then.
Nope. Okay, number 5. Ouija is originally a hoax the French used to scare their slaves in Haiti to keep them in line, a voodoo arrangement of letters and numbers for contacting the dead, a Freemason ritual that was adopted by mediums for talking with the dead in the 1800s, a brand name for and a parlor game developed in the US. Ouija. A hoax for the French used to scare their slaves in Haiti to keep them in line. A voodoo arrangement of letters and numbers for contacting the dead. A Freemason ritual that was adopted by mediums for talking with the dead in the 1800s. A brand name for and a parlor game developed in the US. This is where we sit back and have a rest. You're bloody ready, are.
Oh.
Well, you have your go in a minute, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You have your bloody go in a minute.
Yeah. Everyone will bloody go in a minute.
It's okay. That's fine. That's not a problem.
Ben says invented by Hasbro.
I think he's right.
Is it?
Yeah, he's right. It's a brand name for and a parlor game developed by in the US.
Wow.
That's bloody right, you dickhead. He's laughing at you, Ben. He don't know what he's talking about.
I know you got parlour game, but then I didn't know they had...
No, you can still get them. The original game, they were for children.
Oh. Well, I never did. Oh, for children, is it? Oh. That's interesting. That's a connection with my talk later.
Don't go giving any secrets away.
Well, no, it's like a...
You got to talk into
it's just
rubbish
trying to hook people in.
I thought it was for children, Ben. I might have got that wrong. But I thought it was. But yeah, I think it was by Hasbro. Right. There's 3 points available for the next question, and it's a bit long-winded, so bear with, okay? So we'll break it down into 3 bits. It's a bit long-winded. Took me ages to pick this one apart to do this one, but 3 points available. So you sort yourself out. Don't bloody yawn on your own bloody live stream.
It's very exciting, everybody. Christ.
If you're finding it boring, what the bloody hell?
I'm not finding it boring.
I'm 3 points available here. Which album cover is said to be a funeral procession suggesting a member of the band was in fact dead? I was just reading Green Tea's thing.
Yeah, I know.
We're both like this.
Yeah, wow.
We'll read it in a minute. Which album cover is said to be a funeral procession suggesting a member of the band was in fact dead? So we're breaking this up into 3 questions. We're trusting you not to cheat, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not accepting the name of the band, but there are 3 parts to this. So if you don't get the first one right, bear with, you might get the other 2 right. If you don't know, just put a dunno and then we know. Right.
Good old Degs, yeah.
Right. So the actual answer is Abbey Road.
It's not Alvin Stardust's greatest hits, as Degs put. No.
Abbey Road was the name of the album cover. And which are... You got almost there, guys. Which member was supposed to have been dead? Which member of the band was supposed to have been dead? We do need some music for this bit. We did have a thing, but I don't know where it's gone. Right. Oh, they've all got that bit right. Who got it right first?
Cosmic.
Right. Brilliant. And this is the last one. It might be a bit convoluted, but whoever gets one of these right. So what was one of the anomalies for the 3rd extra point? Can you name one of the anomalies on the cover for the last extra point? And if you don't know, just put dunno, and then we know to just read it out.
Casey. Hello, Casey.
Hi, Casey. We'll just we'll give you a few minutes.
Did we say out loud who it was that was supposed to have died?
Yeah, who was? And you said that Cosmic was the first one to get it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Paul. Yeah. We'll just let them. Dunno. Paul was barefoot. Well done, Ben. So Paul was barefoot was one of the giveaway ones. So I will read out some of the giveaway signs on Abbey Road to suggest that Paul had passed away. So John Lennon's white suit symbolized the color of mourning in some Eastern religions, while Ringo Starr is donned the more traditional black. What they neglect to point out, however, is that George Harrison is wearing denim, the color of mourning in Canada. Paul not wearing any shoes. Now, this next one's a bit contentious, and I think this is pushing it a little bit. But number plate, it's LMW 28IF. Some people think that's 28 if alive, but the truth would have been he would have been 27. So I think they're pushing it at that one. Some people think the police van suggests that there was an accident. Paul's cigarettes in the wrong hand is another suggestion that it isn't the right Paul. On the night of McCartney's supposed car accident, he was believed to have been driving with a fan named Rita. Theorists say the girl in the dress featured on the back cover was meant to be her, fleeing from the car crash. Oh, it gives me the bloody creeps. And also, there's a broken Beatles sign on the back of the album. So there's quite a lot for nutters like us to pull apart, isn't there?
Yeah, Ben was saying also the grave digger. I think.
Yeah.
I remember something that, like the way they dressed, because Harrison, like in jeans, like a grave digger. Ringo sort of in black, like an undertaker. Like you said,
Paul with no shoes.
Paul with no shoes, like the person who's being buried, and Lennon like a religious leader with the all white.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, and there's a lot of theories about it. But well done, Ben.
And Cosmic got Cosmic was first in on Paul. I think. Yeah, so
well done,
there
everybody.
As well.
Very interesting. So number 7. This organisation became more widely known after the publication of the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. It is an institution of the Catholic Church, and the translation of its Latin name means God's work. It is rumoured to be linked to an assassination hit squad in the United States of America to be preventing reform of the Catholic Church and a potential revival of the Crusades. Which organisation is this? St. Vincent de Paul Society, Priory of Sion, Opus Dei, Society of Jesus. St. Vincent de Paul Society, Opus Dei, Priory of Sion, Society of Jesus. Oh, let's just sit back and give everybody a little go at it.
Yeah.
I should put my hat on, really, shouldn't I? Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe. Because we're supposed to be having a different hat every week. It's a gimmick. But halfway through, I get a bit hot.
I forget it's even on my head. I'm wearing it for about an hour.
Oh, I've got a sweaty head. Yeah, he carries on wearing it. Right. Who was the first one to say Opus Dei?
Green tea was straight in before I think before you even finished the question.
Bloody hell.
No need for the multiple choice.
She knows what's going on.
She beat Ben to that one.
Bloody hell. Right, a bit of learning. Opus Dei was featured in the highly popular The Da Vinci Code book by Dan Brown. Opus Dei has been strongly criticised for its secrecy and its political influence. Former and current members include politicians from a number of countries, as well as members of the media. It is also linked to the practice of mortification of the flesh, including self-flagellation. As it is a staunchly traditional society, it has also come in for criticism for preventing church reform. Bit of learning there for everybody. Right, number 8. One of the most famous women in the world died in a car crash in Paris in 1997. Diana, the Princess of Wales, was killed with her boyfriend, Dodi Fayed, and their driver, Henri Paul. Dodi Fayed's famous father, Mohammed Al Fayed, claimed that the accident was a deliberate assassination. Whom did he blame for the accident? The media, CIA, MI6, Duke of Edinburgh. The media, CIA, MI6, Duke of Edinburgh. We definitely need some
rolling in.
We definitely need some music at this junction.
I thought you were going to sing.
Hold on.
You got your phone. Oh no, but yeah, we get copyright strikes.
Oh, for this?
Oh, not with that, no.
Okay, that'll do.
Oh.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Right. The answer is everybody up there?
Yeah, there's lots of answers.
The answer is the Duke of Edinburgh.
That was Cosmic in first.
Woo.
A few goes for MI6.
Well, yeah.
But,
yeah.
They've all probably
well, yeah, they would have done it, but they would have been told to do it by old dickhead, wouldn't they? Mohammed Al Fayed criticised the royal family, blaming the Duke of Edinburgh. husband of Queen Elizabeth II, for the accident. He claimed that the couple were assassinated by the British Secret Service as the royal family did not approve of Diana's relationships. So basically, it was MI6, but matey boy got him to do it. After a 6 months inquest, it was concluded that the accident was the result of negligent driving by Henry Poole. Rubbish. Right.
Green Tea says, do you have the Jeopardy game show in UK? Oh, we have something. Hang on, think about it. Do we have something similar to Jeopardy?
I don't know. I don't watch
it a different
telly.
name?
I don't watch it.
Oh, yeah. Glenn's, Ben's saying we used to.
I've got no idea what goes on.
What's the relevance of that, Green Tea? Is Duke of Edinburgh in it?
No, I don't. Maybe it's the music. It's the music.
Oh, it's the music.
It's music, I suppose.
Oh, there's relevance to it. Yeah.
Which so-called specialist disinformation correspondent was recently found out to have lied on her CV? Hold on.
Oh, yeah, Green Tea is saying it's a famous tune while they write their answers.
Yeah, that's what we need. Got to be our thing there.
Green Tea says there's more fun.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a couple of answers in there.
Right. So, Mariana Spring.
Yeah. Ben got in there first, just ahead of Cosmic and Green Tea.
So, a bit of learning. Spring undertook work experience at the, what's it, Ben? The Guardian and Private Eye. After graduation, she applied for various journalism programs, including at the BBC, but was not successful. Senior news reporter for The Guardian, Alexander Topping, suggested that Spring contact various BBC journalists that she admired. Emily Maitlis replied to Spring and gave her an opportunity to work on Newsnight. She co-produced a segment for the programme about protesters from across the French political spectrum joining the Gilets Jaunes in December 2018. The focus of my job is to humanise disinformation and explain its impact to viewers, listeners and readers. Spring, describing her role in March 2021, said she was appointed the BBC's first specialist disinformation and social media reporter. It's so Orwellian. In September 23, the New European alleged that Spring had previously lied on her CV when applying for a job in 2018 in Moscow for US-based news website Coda Story. That gives a whole new meaning to Spring Watch.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, I mean, you've got to get experience to be a disinformation expert. You've got to actually spread disinformation. Yeah.
That's a bloody good point, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. If you've done it, you don't know how to find it.
It makes a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, bless her. Obviously, she's doing her best.
Don't bless her. But fair point, well made, Mark. I would say.
Ben said she's also a lying cow, which is another way of putting disinformation expert. Yeah.
There's a lot of things she is, Ben.
Yeah.
Right. Who got that one right?
It was Ben.
Well done.
What number was that? Number 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben. Ben got number 9.
Right, number 10. In 1973, David Rockefeller founded this group of wealthy, influential people as a kind of think tank to solve the world's problems. What a bloody good job he did of it too.
Oh, nice.
He solved them, actually. He didn't
nice
cause them.
It's nice.
He must have got it wrong. Halfway through, he wrote solved and he meant cause.
Such a fine line.
Fine line. So, was it the Council on Foreign Relations?
Is that it? How much of a multiple choice?
Oh, I get it. No, I've written it down wrong. I've written it down wrong.
Seamless.
The Council on Foreign Relations, the International Monetary Fund, or the Trilateral Commission? Don't make me say that again. Oh, hold on. There's another one. I've written this one down all wrong. David Rockefeller, what's his name?
That fella.
Christ. 1973. What did he start? The Council on Foreign Relations, Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, the Trilateral Commission, or the International Monetary Fund. Please don't make me say that again.
I don't think you need to. We've got a couple of answers in already.
Hold on.
Oh, Christ, the music.
Right. The answer is
get into that.
The Trilateral Commission. Learning.
Cosmic got in there first.
Well done.
By just typing 3 letters. Try.
Well, no, that's all you got to do.
I know. Ben went for the whole Trilateral Commission, and that lost him.
Slowed you down.
Green tea's coming.
Slowed you down, mate.
But she had to come all the way across the Atlantic. So
I don't think that's how the internet works.
No, but well, anyway. But Cosmic has got in there first.
Well done. The Trilateral Commission, founded by David Rockefeller in 1973, each year selects a group of David Rockefeller Fellows, DRFs. The Commission seeks applicants 35 years old or younger who show keen interest in national and global issues and strong potential for future leadership. Number 11. How many birds and bats are wind turbines slaughtering yearly? Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions. How many birds and bats are wind turbines slaughtering yearly? Well, you got to save the environment, babe.
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions. This was quite depressing reading this. It's very sad. And there was pictures and it was horrible. Right. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
It was a mole.
I'll try a red one.
It's a bit jaunty music for something.
It is jaunty.
Many birds, isn't it?
It's too jaunty for the murdering of birds. Right, shut up. Christ, too jaunty for bird murdering. The answer is millions.
Wow. Casey said tens of thousands, but Green Tea was first in with the right answer, millions.
Absolutely disgusting. So a wind farm in California. A wind farm in California reported one farm killed 116 golden eagles in 1 year. That was in 2004. That means 2,300 since then. That's one wind farm. 2,300 golden eagles were killed since 2004. But California has 3 of the biggest wind farms in the world. And they're doing it to save the environment, babe.
As Casey says, disgusting.
It hurt my feelings, that one did. That made me sad. Disgusting. Right, moving on. Number 12. Who is the UK media's go-to expert regarding UFOs? Patrick Moore, Brian Cox, Nick Pope. We know who's going to get this one.
Music, get the music.
Oh, music, Satan music. Satan music.
Ben says me.
Oh yeah, and Green Tea's put
and
Ben
Cosmic
as well.
says Nick. Who's Nick? Oh, Green Tea says Ben.
I
You
know.
getting fans, Ben?
The music's gone wrong.
Oh,
Mark, this is the Pope. This is your favourite one.
Yeah.
Mark's got to dance to this one. No, that'll do. The answer is Nick Pope. But,
well,
yeah.
Degs got in first because Ben was being humorous.
Oh.
Your humour cost you.
Cost you, Ben. I find that.
So you did put his royal popeness, but it was after Degs.
Yeah.
So
Degs got it.
Degs,
He's got it.
You're on the board, mate.
So Nick Pope, absolute knobhead. In a Financial Times interview called "It's Boom Time for the Real Fox Mulder" in September 2023, the complete dickhead said, to this day, he can't quite recall who first clocked the similarity with the legendary X-Files character. I can't remember if it came from me, my literary agent, a publicity person, or a journalist. I reckon I knew where it came from.
We saw it, yeah. Anyway,
Pope 57 explained with a bashful smile as we settled down. Well, it was you complete self-aggrandized, pen-pushing secretary knobhead. We met him once and he was an idiot.
We saw him at a conference and he was like, my agent said, work it, baby.
But
work
he said it like that.
Yeah, exactly like that.
So my agent said,
I made it.
Work it, baby. Work it.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry, Degs. And it Cosmic said Nick, and I got confused.
Oh,
so
you thought Nick.
So it's Cosmic. I'm sorry, Degs.
Do you know what I mean?
You were on the board and you're off the board.
I give you one job to do.
I know.
He won't be here next week. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah.
He won't be here next week. He's not going to be here next week.
But yeah, thanks for pointing it out, Ben, and my apologies to everybody.
So I can't remember if it came from me. Yeah, it came from you.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it?
He's
arrogant.
about as much like Mulder as...
Every time I do that...
Mouldy, maybe, but...
Fox Mouldy.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Number 13. This is quite a funny one. What is nomophobia the fear of?
Ooh.
Fear of names? Fear of gnomes? Fear of being followed by gnomes? Fear of being without your mobile phones?
See, that was a rhyme.
I know, I did it on purpose. I know, I did it.
Clever, that.
I did that on purpose. I know.
Read that one again.
I'll do it again. I'm going to do that one again.
It's like a poem.
I know.
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
What is nomophobia the fear of? Fear of names? Can I read it as well?
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Fear of gnomes. Fear of being followed by gnomes. Fear of being without your mobile phones.
Yeah,
that's all right, that, isn't it?
No. Maybe you've got to do that for every question from now on.
No, I can't be bothered. Being followed by gnomes. I mean, that would be fucking terrifying.
Well, yeah.
So the answer is being without your mobile phone.
Right, now, I've got a history now of getting things wrong.
You are shit at it, Mark.
It was Cosmic beating Degs.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Mark right? Because he's not been very good tonight, has
Cosmic,
he?
no mobile phones. Yeah, Degs was a little bit behind.
Right, now I'm just going to add an extra point in here. Because I got a bit of learning here, but I could incorporate it into a question.
Ooh.
So another part of the question I've just decided, how long does it take for people to get anxious when they're not with their mobile phones? You know, in general.
Ben says for me about 3 years.
We could have props.
Yeah.
That's too long. Right.
Wow.
A few minutes.
Well, okay, what's the answer then?
6 minutes.
Ooh.
I can't have a few minutes.
Right, so we've got Casey 10 seconds. Cosmic Twilight, a few minutes. Green Tea 20 minutes. Degs 10 minutes.
I think it's going to have to be dead because I can't take I mean, what's a few minutes, my love? Am I right? So the answer is 6 minutes. People get anxious after 6 minutes. I don't.
All right, so that's a part 2 to
that
number
Dex?
13. Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. Oh, got to be harsh, Cosmic. Oh, she's asked.
I don't know what a few means. I mean, a few beers to him is 57. A little insight into our personal life there. Right, here's another 2-pointer. A 2-pointer. Which month is Imbolc celebrated, and which pagan goddess is honoured on this date? 2 names. Christ.
Eh?
Yeah. Which month is Imbolc celebrated, and which goddess is honoured? That's 2.
Oh.
It's 2. I need some more props. I'm usually surrounded by props, Mark. Oh. Oh. What's all gone wrong? Ganesh. I expect people to tune in just for this, babe.
I expect so, yeah.
Right. So, has everybody got 2 answers there? We could give it a bit more.
There's a couple of tours. Green Tea's got a oneer.
Nothing wrong with dancing Ganesh,
No,
I tell you.
No.
Right. I'm just having a look around for some of the props. There's quite a few up there. I'm surrounded by. I could get that one.
That's too much. Maybe another day.
Right. Is everybody going to answer, or do you not know? Let us know. Do we need some more music? I'll do a countdown.
Oh. Yes, you could do it like. Oh yeah, keep going.
Bubble, bubble, bubbly bow. Boom. So the answer is February for 1 point. And the pagan goddess is Bridget.
Wow. Casey was straight in with both.
She got it. Get in.
Yeah.
She's
Ben
got it.
was just behind, but well done, Casey.
Oh, well done, guys.
Right, so points, yeah. That's number 14.
Yeah, 2 points. Right, number 15. Dr. David Kelly, a top... Oh, no, I forgot the learning.
Learning.
In pre-Christian times, Imbolc observance began the night before February the 1st. Celebrants prepared for a visit from Bridget into their homes by crafting an effigy of the goddess from bundles of oats and rushes. The effigy was placed in a dress and put in a basket overnight. The day of Imbolc was celebrated by rituals, including burning lamps and lighting bonfires in tribute to Bridget. There we go, learning.
Oh, so that's just coming up in a few days.
Yeah. Dr. David Kelly, 15, a top biological weapons expert from Porton Down, died in suspicious circumstances after having allegedly leaked information regarding Saddam Hussein's supposed weapons of mass destruction in 2003. Which Prime Minister was asked if he had blood on his hands as a result of his death? It doesn't quite work, does it? I could do my own bloody tune. Right.
A few right answers.
The answer is Blair.
The Blair Witch Project. Yep. Everyone's got the right answer, but Cosmic came in first on our chat anyway.
One of the Avery 6 is old Cosmic. Right. Kelly had been outed by the government as the source of an explosive BBC story, which claimed a Downing Street dossier on Iraq's weapons of mass destruction had been sexed up to justify the UK military action against Saddam Hussein's regime. Dodgy doings there. Right. 16. Who is now thought to have been the accomplice to British serial killer Peter Sutcliffe, aka the Yorkshire Ripper? No clues. Who is now thought to have been the accomplice to British serial killer Peter Sutcliffe, aka the Yorkshire Ripper? This doesn't need jolly music, this. That'd be a bit inappropriate. I just read Tony Blair as the answer to that. Wouldn't fucking surprise me. Wouldn't bloody surprise me. Why don't we give it a few minutes?
Yeah.
I don't think jolly music for this one. No jolly music for this one, I don't think. Yeah, Tony Blair. Yeah. The answer is child procurer to the royals, necrophiliac and paedophile Sir Jimmy Savile. Lovely.
Well, Ben was in first, just ahead of Cosmic. They're having a little battle there. Casey just behind there. Jim will fix it.
No,
So was that number 7? No, that was 16.
That was 16.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
It's number 17. Oh, yeah, Ben. You don't want to advertise that too much. Right, 17. Which film, based on a true story that shares the surname of the famous whistleblower it is about, highlights a scandal involving enough missing plutonium to make 4 atomic bombs? Northwood, Westwood, Silkwood. So which film, based on a true story, shares the surname of the famous whistleblower it is about, highlights a scandal involving enough missing plutonium to make 4 atomic bombs? Northwood, Westwood, Silkwood.
Silent disco.
Are we all good?
Yeah, we've got a few answers,
The
but
answer is Silkwood.
Yeah, green tea is the only one with the correct answer, I believe. Yes. Yeah. Others. Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah. Dexter's got a green. Dexter's. Oh no, he
Northwood.
hasn't. Oh, I'm blind.
Yeah, there's a few Northwoods, but Silkwood is
well
the
done,
answer.
green tea. So, learning. Only a few months after Karen Silkwood's death, officially in a car crash, strangely, the binder of information she was going to hand in to a journalist was not found. But the post-mortem claims she had high levels of radioactivity in her stomach, that she had accidentally eaten some plutonium, as well as high levels of barbiturates. I mean, we've all done that.
Yeah.
Just leave it in the back of the fridge. Oh, God, it's got in the jam again.
It's like, a suicide, cut your own wrist and then shoot yourself in the back of the head.
That can happen. Yeah. Reports emerged that nearly 20 kilograms of plutonium had gone missing from the Cimarron plant. I don't know if that's how I say it right. Kerr-McGee, implicating the CIA, MI5, Israel's Mossad, and some Iranian secret agents as co-conspirators with Kerr-McGee in a politically sensitive plutonium smuggling operation. Easy for me to say. Sounds like a good film, that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I've never seen it, but
so it's a true story.
Meryl Streep, wasn't it?
She died accidentally at the plutonium instead of her cornflakes.
As green tea says, dang, I accidentally ate some plutonium again. I mean, it happens to us all.
Oh God, I did it the other day.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I'm sorry, I don't think any of these agencies would do anything to hurt us. So
they all got our best interests.
I don't know if I believe that.
Porton Down, which has obviously been
down the fucking road.
Yeah, which has obviously been famous as being their biological warfare place, like you said, David Kelly and stuff for forever, and now it's apparently part of the
Public Health England. Public
So,
Health England.
The same place.
Ben's talking about the Skripals and Novichok.
Which is just down there.
That was from Porton, shit-face down.
Well, yeah, probably.
No, it was.
Yeah,
it was down the road from there.
Yeah, it was just down the road from there. It's Salisbury.
Down the road from there.
Yeah.
Right. 18. Rainbow Girls is a branch of what infamous organisation? No clues.
But being blooming tough on them now.
But some good music.
We could do a greatest hits CD. That could be like merchandising.
We've not got many moves, but what we've got, we make the most of.
Well, we have got a limited space here.
Right. Is everybody written something down?
No, we've only had one answer at the moment.
Right.
From
Do
Casey.
we need a little bit more time? Ben don't know. We've still got a couple of other people that need to be talking to us.
Can you do multiple choice? I don't think. Well, unless
no, I bloody well can't.
No, you can't. No bloody spoon feeding. There's no blooming dumbing down in this bloody quiz. Blooming hell. No.
He always moans when they play Trivial Pursuit. We never used to have multiple choice questions in my day.
When we were kids.
Never had multiple choice in my day.
Choice now. It's multiple choice. It's not bloody education rubbish.
But stop talking. Right, so Rainbow Girls is a branch of the Freemasons. Alongside the Order of de Malay and Job's Daughters, Rainbow Girls makes up one of the various Masonic orders for young people. In 1922, Rainbow was created for young women whose fathers were members of the Masonic Lodge and their friends. Now, there's some dodgy stuff. I've been reading into this. There's some dodgy stuff on Reddit about this. The International Order of the Rainbow members make claims of bullying, humiliation, and being prey to fathers of other Rainbow Girls and men from regular Freemasonry groups. Police state that they frequently arrest the girls who preach austerity, stealing from high-end boutiques. So they got to keep up with the Joneses. So they steal from high-end boutiques. They preach austerity, and they're basically prey to the Freemasonic fathers. And there's bullying and him. So lovely. Absolutely. You should actually see it if you go and have a look at the picture of the Rainbow Girls. They're still around now. There's a little cartoon of them as well, and everything. They've got secret handshakes. They've got secret everything, and they actually. Like wedding dresses. They wear wedding dresses. It's so weird. Anyway, yeah. Young girls branch of the Freemasons.
Sad.
Nothing surprises me this day. Well, nothing surprises me.
And that rainbow imagery, obviously, that's
rainbow yawn. Right, number 19. In the book 1984 by George Orwell, what does Winston scrawl in the dust on a table at the Chestnut Tree Cafe after his mind is broken? War is peace. I love Big Brother. Julia, 2 + 2 = 5. So in the book 1984 by George Orwell, what does Winston scrawl in the dust on a table at the Chestnut Tree Cafe after his mind is broken? War is peace. I love Big Brother. Julia, 2 + 2 = 5. Ben can't remember. Give it a what is it? Guess. Give it a guess, Ben.
Yeah, you got multiple choice.
War is peace. I love Big Brother. Julia, 2 + 2 = 5. I'm gonna have to take my hat off again. I'm bloody taking it off.
Well, the quiz is getting very close.
Hot off the
it's very
press.
Exciting.
Right. We'll give everybody a few minutes. No clues?
No. Ben's just saying he knows someone who's a lady mason, adult woman. Maybe she started in the Rainbow.
Well, no, I don't expect so. But
yeah.
Right. Has everybody answered? Who's going to answer?
There's been 2 or 3 answers.
Should we wait a couple more minutes just in case? Right, let's do it. The answer is 2 + 2 = 5.
No one got that then.
So that's what he scrawls in the dust in the table at the Chestnut Tree Cafe after his mind's been broken. 2 + 2 = 5.
I guess that fits, Ben, when you say the last line is he loved Big Brother.
Yeah.
So he's been...
Bless him. Right, number 20.
Well, just to put a little bit more excitement on this.
Oh. As if you could, hold on, as if you could get more excitement.
Currently, Cosmic is 1 point behind Ben, and it's all on the final question.
Sorry?
Cosmic is 1 point behind Ben, and there's one question to go.
Oh.
So potentially it could be a tie. Who knows?
Oh no, I haven't got an extra question. No, but we always make one up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. Neck and neck. Is everybody?
Oh, attention.
Calm the fuck down.
Feeling a bit tense.
You get indigestion.
Yeah.
Right.
Be ready.
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 Ready. The ultimate goal of the Abramelin operation is to what? Attain knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, master the zodiacal spirits, or to meet with the Abrahamic God in a heavenly place. The ultimate goal of the Abramelin operation is to what? Attain knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, master the zodiacal spirits, meet with the Abrahamic God in a heavenly palace. Cosmic's shaking. I'm shaking.
Mm-hmm.
He's shaking. He hasn't had a pint for a week.
I
don't think that was its main reason, Ben. Right. So the answer is... Mark, look out for the right answer. To attain knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. Did anybody get that?
So that's not master the spirits.
No.
Right, that's what Cosmic put.
Right.
Green Tea put meet God.
No. So did anybody put attain knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel?
No.
Steward inquiry.
Well, if there's a no on that one, then
Ben wants a steward inquiry.
Well, Ben has won 7-6 ahead of Cosmic because there was no answer on that last question.
Well done, Ben.
So the scores remain the same.
Cosmic, it was very, very close. It was very, very close. Should we get a happy Robin? I don't know why we would.
But you know, there's good contributions.
Let me
Green Tea.
Let me just do the reading.
I'll do the reading. God.
The ultimate goal of the Abramelin operation is to attain knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. This refers to a state of spiritual enlightenment and communion with a higher divine being, which is believed to bring about profound personal transformation and guidance. It involves a rigorous and lengthy ritual process outlined in the medieval grimoire, the Book of Abramelin, aimed at establishing a direct and intimate relationship with one's personal guardian angel. This connection is seen as a source of wisdom, protection, and spiritual guidance. Well, old dickhead didn't finish it, did he? And then it all went to shit up Scotland. That's my interpretation of it.
Got Nessie, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. Anyway, Ben, well done, Ben.
Yeah, well done, Ben.
Woo!
Yeah.
Another stunning prize will be winging its way to you. You must be a glutton for punishment, Ben, I tell you. Right, so do you want to get yourself a cup of tea before he starts rabbiting on?
Oh, I want a cup of tea. No, I don't.
You ain't getting a bloody cup of tea.
I don't have to bloody water.
I'll put that towards you.
Yeah.
Do you want some of that?
No, it's all right.
I've got bloody my face.
I've got a bit. Oh.
Ben's done a lap of order. A lap of order?
Laptop of honour.
Right, I'm going to go and sit down
Neon
over
likes
there.
the neon background. Neon me.
It's him. Right, I'm going to sit behind you.
Oh,
I'll let you
Christ.
take the limelight.
Oh,
You can sit in the big boy's chair.
Big boy's chair.
Sit in the
I
big boy's chair.
can't take the responsibility.
No.
I'm quite.
You don't want to sit in the big boy's chair.
Well, I will, but I don't quite. You know, I don't. Right. Okay. Let's get me bits.
Christ.
Get me bits in order.
I'll give you a hand.
Get me order. Right. Well.
Are you ready?
Well, ready to waffle on.
Right,
I don't know if everyone.
This a minute.
I don't know if everyone else is ready for me, but
They're ready. Put your books here.
Oh yeah, got lots of books. Well, You know, as usual, I want to talk about something cheerful.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah, go on then. But yeah, it ties in a bit really with when Liz was mentioning about the truckers, and we know all the stuff in here in Europe with people being brought over. But I think the important thing is like the people that are coming over being manipulated and abused as much as the people in this country, their lives that are being ruined as well. But I want to take things back as well, where we were talking before about Hollywood and fiction writing, how that's sort of been used to manipulate people. Taking it right back to the very origins of stories with fairy tales. And for me, like I've written before, and I've banged on about this before, my writings about lost children. But it's just right, really, at the start of these fairy tales, which are, if you like, you know, some of the earliest forms of fiction, if you like, or the earliest stories that people ever used to speak. And that was how they would communicate. It was always oral tales, and that's how they spread through communities, and they used to change. People used to embellish them, I guess. But for centuries, that's the only form they existed in. They were oral tales. But when you go back to look at these tales, it's interesting because people say, oh, life, you know, when people use the term fairy tale now, it's like, oh, a fairy tale life. It's like where everything's wonderful and people living like a princess in inverted commas. But in actual fact, fairy tales, so many of them, the origins, they're blooming grim. Well, yeah, going on to the Grimms in a minute, but they're really gritty and nasty, and people die a lot. I mean, there's one that I mentioned, grim, as in things being grim, but the Brothers Grimm, obviously, are one of the most famous writers. But what they were doing basically was taking these old original tales, which they compiled by going around all these different communities and getting them from old women in villages that would know all these tales off by heart. But then they would compile them and edit them. And they changed over years. And the Grimms, particularly one, I think it was Wilhelm, could be wrong, but had a particular Christian moralistic view, and so he wanted to change these tales to give these messages that he thought society should be hearing. So you get this where people are manipulating stories to try and push their own way of making people think, because it is really influential on how people think. Is stories that you hear, and then it's obviously gone into then what you read, and then that's gone into radio and then TV and film. It's just now it's more souped up and powerful versions of stories that make people think in a certain way. But there was a lot of editing going on, and there was this book was came out several years ago, but it was the first time that someone had translated the very original, the first versions that Grimm put out. So they'd already translated, if you like, or written down these oral tales, but it was before they started really mucking about with them and really putting their own sort of slant on them. But some of the tales didn't even last to later versions. And I'm just going to read these couple of cheerful little tales, just to give you an idea about what is, the heart of fairy tales, but also thinking what happens to kids, and what we know about what happens to kids now, and how this is centuries old. So this there's they're two separate stories, but they both come under the same title. How some children played at slaughtering. In a city named Franeker, located in West Friesland, some young boys and girls between the ages of 5 and 6 happened to be playing with one another. They chose one boy to play a butcher, another boy was to be a cook, and a third boy was to be a pig. Then they selected one girl to be a cook and another girl to be her assistant. The assistant was to catch the blood of the pig in a little bowl so they could make sausages. As agreed, the butcher now fell upon the little boy playing the pig, threw him to the ground, and slit his throat open with a knife.
Oh, what?
While the assistant caught the blood in her little bowl.
Is this just a story?
Yeah.
I needed to hear the first part of that.
Not really. A councilman was walking nearby, councilman, mind you, and saw this wretched act. He immediately took the butcher boy with him and led him into the house of the mayor, who instantly summoned the entire council. They deliberated upon the incident and didn't know what to do with the boy, for they realised it had all been part of a children's game. One of the councilmen, a wise old man, advised the chief judge to take a beautiful red apple in one hand and a Rhenish gold coin in the other. Then he was to call the boy and stretch out his hands to him. If the boy took the apple, he was to be set free. If he took the gold coin, he was to be killed. The judge took the wise man's advice and the boy grabbed the apple with a laugh.
Oh dear.
Thus he was set free without any punishment. Now, when I wrote my Ponzi academic book, I sort of did a bit of an analysis of that, but to me, I thought it was quite sort of damning that the councils and that let them free, because the people in charge, if you like, then as now, they're actually the ones that are doing all these things that are resulting in brutality against children. So they can't punish the kid because they're doing it themselves. But then there's another story under the same title, and this is just more in the family environment. So there once was a father who slaughtered a pig, and these children saw that. In the afternoon, when they began playing, one child said to the other, "You be the little pig and I'll be the butcher."
Christ.
He then took a shiny knife and slit his little brother's throat.
I wish I'd never come back here.
Their mother was upstairs in a room bathing another child, and when she heard the cries of her son, she immediately ran downstairs. Upon seeing what had happened, she took the knife out of her son's throat and was so enraged that she stabbed the heart of the other boy,
Right, I'm going.
who had been playing the butcher. Then she quickly ran back to the room to tend to her child in the bathtub, but while she'd been gone, he drowned in the tub.
You're a sicko.
Now the woman became so frightened and desperate that she wouldn't allow the neighbours to comfort her and finally hung herself. When her husband came back from the fields and saw everything, he became so despondent that he died soon after. So that's just a little... Surprisingly, the Grimms removed that from later editions.
Is it?
Because they said it was a bit too gruesome. No, that's
Can
it.
I go?
No.
Should I go?
No, it's all right.
This is a bit sick, mine.
No. But just, you know...
Yeah, you've given them a warning about this.
Sorry, I didn't really give a warning. But...
Is that a grim fairy tale?
Yeah, but that was an original old oral tale, which they just copied.
Hell.
But they did get rid of it. Like I say, they sort of sanitized the later ones, and you got these literary fairy tales that came later and trying to put all these sort of moralistic things on it. But I know that was not nice stories, but it just sort of showed that there's this sort of violence against children that it's right deep down in the history of our DNA and our literary DNA, with the stories that come through to now.
Our manipulated DNA.
Yeah, well, yeah, that as well. But I mean, the guy who translated these fairy tales, he was also written a lot of book about fairy tales and what they mean and how important they were to society. But he said these tales of the first edition are often about wounded young people, and many illustrate ongoing conflicts that continue to exist in our present day. So, you know, this really is totally relevant now. He also says, in the Grimm's original collection, they frequently depict the disputes that young protagonists have with their parents, children brutally treated and abandoned, soldiers in need, young women persecuted, sibling rivalry, exploitation and oppression of young people. And I like this. Well, I say I'd like this next bit, but I thought it was relevant. Dangerous predators, spiteful kings and queens abusing their power, and death punishing greedy people and rewarding a virtuous boy. So I think my point, if there is one to this, what I'm talking about, is that there's so much that we're dealing with now in the present day that has its origins centuries back, and things are sort of repeating. And I guess you could say that comes in with what we know about bloodlines and things like that, and how essentially it's the same people in charge, whether it's centuries ago or now, through these secret societies and these certain families. I was thinking again, maybe a well-known tale, which is also in the Grimm fairy tales, and obviously is one that is known to this day, like Hansel and Gretel. And it's one of again many fairy tales where there's impoverished and starving parents, and they have to forced to sacrifice their children in order to survive. And in Hansel and Gretel, the kids are taken away into the forest to be abandoned because the family can't afford to feed them anymore. And then you get the story where they come across the witch and the gingerbread house. So you've got all these ideas as well about food, and the witch tries to eat the kids in the oven. And there's also a lot of fairy tales around, well, cannibalism basically, and about kids being eaten. And you've got all the, again, stuff about adrenochrome and things like that are talked about in our world. But again, there's so much within our society, I think, and the way people are controlling us, that just repeats through history. I mean, again, you've got in Roman times, in the what's it called? The I've had a blank. In Ovid, Metamorphoses, with Philomel and Procne, and Philomel is the sister of Procne, married to the king. The king rapes Philomel, removes her tongue so she can't tell anyone. Procne finds out about it, rescues Philomel, and then as revenge, they kill his son and cook him and serve him up to be eaten. And he eats his son without realizing it. And that was used by Shakespeare in Titus Andronicus. So it's all a part of our cultural history. But sort of bring it up into the 18th century, there was a lot where the social conditions of the day, with all this growing industrialization, people going into these new cities with the Industrial Revolution, people being used again as commodities and as just units of production and live in horrible conditions. And again, there was a lot of rhetoric at the time about how poor people were sacrificing their children because they couldn't afford to feed them. And there was a famous satire by Jonathan Swift, A Modest Proposal, which was meant to be satire, where he was saying, I think it was referring to the Irish potato famine, and they were saying, oh, well, the ideal solution is if the Irish send their babies over to the rich people in England and they can eat their babies and stuff like that, and then they wouldn't have to feed them. So he was using that to criticize how these rich people in England were just growing fat on profits which they were making, and they were leaving these other people to die. And I think since then, often children have been used because they're vulnerable, the weakest in society. So by showing their ill treatment, you can show how society is cruel and try to affect change. And you get all that with Dickens as well, with all the kids, this sort of Oliver Twist. So, I mean, some people going back to fairy tales. Some people will say, "Oh, these are good." Like psychoanalysts have read it, Bettelheim, saying things like Hansel and Gretel. It's important for the child's development because they're learning that they have to go away from the parents and survive on their own, and it's part of their sort of, I don't know, whatever the Freudian term is, where they've got to separate from the mother and the father to become their own people. But it's like, but this isn't a story about them being abandoned to be left to die and almost being eaten by a witch. You know, it's not like they just went to go and get a job in another city and earn their own way. You know, it's really, to me, it's like these fairy tales are internalizing at an early age for children this anxiety that they're a burden on their families and society. And I think where I'm going is this: you get this coming up to the present day when you've got all this stuff where, as we talked before as well, like the eugenics movement has now gone into, and it's going under the guise of the climate change scam. So it's like this idea that there's too many people on the earth, we're overpopulated, and all these discussions were going on in the 18th century around this idea that there was too many poor people, they were living in poverty, it was overpopulation, and that as a lot of people put in stories, although a lot of these weren't true, but they were read as being true, that there were stories where the sort of the middle class and the upper classes were like, oh my God, the poor people are killing their own children, they're eating their own children even. And it's, to me, maybe it's this internalization of this fairy tale imagery that they had in their heads. But it's this idea again that there's too many of the poor people, the ordinary people. There's too many of them, and they needed to be cut back. And this idea of children being a burden and needing to be removed. And I think that's where it goes into a lot of this child migration, which I've talked about, which is a policy that went up to, I think the very last ones were maybe 1970, which was the year I was born, but up until the 60s anyway, where they used to transport children, supposedly orphans, but many of them weren't orphans. They had families, parents, a lot of them, but they were, it was church societies, things like Barnardo's, and they said, oh, you have a better life out in the empire, and we need to populate with the empire with young white kids. So they took, thousands of these kids over decades to Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I think what was Rhodesia as well. But many of them ended up in terrible conditions, having to do virtual slave labor, and many sadly also suffered terrible abuse. But the origins of this in a different form go way back to, I think it was 1618, way back at the early days of the colony in the New World, as it was called then, the USA. And I think actually just predating when slaves were taken from Africa, there was this process became known as spiriting, which sort of like go back to, because that's obviously got a word that makes things sound ghostly and supernatural. But it was this process of kids being abducted and taken. Initially, at one point, it was under a law that was passed by government, basically to allow a number of these children to be transported to Virginia because they were needed to work on the plantations. But then different times it was made illegal, but unofficially it still went on for a long time. And many children were abducted and taken. And it's just, let me just find the quote. But I mean, to me, it's like, so there's just reading this contemporary account. It said, One contemporary account stated that in the dead of night, children were taken by force from the beds where they slept by ruffians who hunted their prey as beasts of the chase. So they were literally taken, forced on ships, and sent across at that time to the beginning of America. And there was one of the most famous ones was this guy Peter Williamson, who became known as Indian Peter. And he was quite, because he sort of, again, it was sort of this idea of like writing a sensational story and what's true, because he obviously did have a traumatic and exciting is maybe not the right word, but a dramatic life. But he wrote a book on it, and possibly, people have questioned if we embellish some of it. But basically, he was taken to the US. They were called like indentured. I can't remember the exact word, but they did have a thing. A lot of these child migrants, or whatever you want to call them, where after maybe 18 years, basically when they got to adulthood, they were allowed to then own some property and farm it themselves. But still living in virtual slavery for a long time. But he managed to he eventually got back to Britain. And he's called Indian Peter. He supposedly said he was captured by Indians, and he had this Indian clothing with him. And he was from Scotland, near Aberdeen, where he was abducted from when he was a child. And he came back as an adult I think he sort of arrived in the south of England, and he actually managed to get his way all the way back up to Scotland. And he had this Indian garb, and he used to sort of pretend to be an Indian and sort of be a bit like almost like a circus act sort of thing to get money from people to pay his way all the way up there. And he actually, when he finally got back to Aberdeen, he had a famous lawsuit where he sued the merchants that were in charge of the ships that had abducted him and taken him to America. So quite a fascinating account, but obviously many other people didn't have such a nice end. But I wonder if that sort of this spiriting when kids were abducted off streets from villages. I mean, you can imagine it, a number of kids just being ripped away from their families and taken. And you wonder if it's like the origin of things we've got in our stories, like the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. This is Coulter in Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials books, with this idea where there's an organization that's stealing children and using them for the purposes of some nefarious secret society, something like that. And it's funny as well. I just thought, just here in Box, in our little village, there's like, it's obviously some sort of like little theatre production that I don't know if it's a school or some little society's done. And it's, and they've got these pictures of rats around, and it's like, oh, it's the Pied Piper of Hamelin. We're doing a play. And I just thought it was funny if it is like a little kids production and it's about an old story, an old legend of someone who sort of enchants all these children from a village and goes away with them and takes them away from the village. And it's sort of, again, it's sort of like kids are internalizing the story of their own abduction. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it, but it seemed a bit ironic in a way. But it really is right deep back in our society. I mean, there was many laws in the 16th and 17th centuries in England. Again, it says there was a rapidly increasing population, increasing unemployment, vagrancy, begging. So these laws came in to try and stop children begging and engage them in occupation, which it says, again, it's like, oh, we're trying to do our best for you. But that will mean us trying to enslave you, basically. So, for instance, an Act of Parliament in 1547 allowed for children of recalcitrant vagabonds and any beggar children aged between 5 and 14 wandering on their own to be removed from their parents by any manner of person who promised to keep them occupied up to the age of 20 for women and 24 for men, If the apprentice escaped his or her new master but was recaptured, the master was permitted to put the child in chains and use him or her as slave in all points until it came of age. So you could say slavery was made legal in England, with children being the slaves. It was repealed a couple of years later, but still there was various other laws which were basically anti-child, if you like. And again, looking at the present day, repairing, you got these things with the child courts. I know in England, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but some really dark stories, a number of people that have had their children taken away from them, sort of social services, local authorities, and these family courts are so secretive, people can't even see the evidence which is against them. The proceedings can't be reported at all. So often these people are just, children's removed from families. I know sometimes maybe that has to be for their own good, and there's also this thing where they say a large number are removed because of a threat of future emotional harm. And that's such an intangible thing. How do you know what's going to cause future emotional harm? And the very action of a kid being separated from their family would in itself normally be the cause of emotional harm. So, yeah, I was struck as well. It just, as I say, this idea where we're overpopulated and we've got to reduce our population to save humanity. We've got to do it by cutting humanity down. And again, in the 18th century, there was a new poor law where the poor were sent to workhouses. It was this idea that the poor almost had to be punished for being poor. And it was all like, economically, we don't want to spend money on them and we have to try and keep them out of society, really, but make them work. But it was interesting, again, in the 18th century that there was a lot of rhetoric around the political idea about these children and the poor. But they used a lot of, it was a lot of connections, again, with supernatural. When I said about spiriting, and there's a quote here from some commentator at the time in the 18th century referring to the new poor law, whose magic wand has swept away the paradise of Eden and left us in its stead the garden of the ghosts of our little ones scientifically slaughtered by the high priest of Moloch, the bloodthirsty monster whom they would impiously install in the holy seat of the Eternal. And it was interesting, it was talking about Moloch. I know, as Liz said in the quiz, if everyone was here last week, that it's not Bohemian Grove, it's not Moloch that Bohemian Grove does their rituals to, but there's certainly similarities there. In 1914, going back to Hollywood, there was a classic silent era Italian film, Cabiria, which is set around this Second Punic War, and as a part of its plot about an abducted child. And there's a very disturbing scene as well where these kids are being sacrificed to this giant statue of Moloch. And that film, 1914, was the first film that was shown at the White House. So 1914, on the eve of the First World War, when so many young people were going to be killed, the president, I think, was Woodrow Wilson at the time, and it was a nice sunny day, so they could watch this scene of children being sacrificed out on the lawn of the White House, this silent film. It's interesting, the first ever film that was shown at the White House was
human creatures.
was a film about sacrifice of children. So again, it keeps coming back and it keeps repeating these images, and it keeps coming back through different forms of storytelling, whether it's oral stories, through written stories, through books, TV, film, and now obviously we've got the internet as well. Also, just to mention Moloch as well, 2019, a statue of Moloch was put up at the Colosseum in Rome. And who runs that? The Vatican, which does seem a little bit strange for what you would think a Christian church to be putting this statue about something of this pagan child sacrifice. But yeah, in the 18th century, there was also, as a reaction to all this industrialization and the modern world of then crushing what had happened before, again, like now, there was a growing trend to collect folk stories, particularly Celtic, Irish, to try and preserve traditional beliefs, traditional way of doing things. And I thought that was, again, similar to how we are now. I know many of us are very interested in pagan religions, how pagan religions here or tribal beliefs in other countries, but ways of doing things that were outside of this kind of industrialization now. Technology taken over, to try and get back to a different state of being human. But there were poems at the time, because there was this, on the one hand, there was all this political concentration on there being overpopulation of the poor, and the population needed to be controlled and reduced. But there were some poems. There's one by Mary Howitt in 1839, Nature versus Malthus. Malthus was this economist who's famous for this sort of idea of population, that it grows too big and then it must be brought down to manage an economy. So I think, again, quite an early person to have these theories that have been transplanted now into this sort of idea of the climate change eugenics, where they've got we're too many and we've got to reduce the population. But this poem, Nature versus Malthus, it talked about this fairy population of children inhabiting the woodland. And as the author of the book I was reading was saying, these can be interpreted in this surplus population that Malthus and the sort of Bill Gates and the people now want gone. They were being compared to these sort of fairy supernatural people. So I think maybe it's just an idea where, when this oppressive regimes are coming on, we see a sanctuary or a way of combating it by going back to the source and going back to some sort of spiritual or supernatural and folk tales and the origins of where we are, maybe reaching back to those fairy tales before they got manipulated. But it's not, got to remember, those fairy tales weren't nice and cuddly and pretty. They were reflecting a brutal life that people were leaving then. But yeah, I just really wanted to cheer everyone's Saturday up by talking about child slaughter, because that's how we're going to get the viewers in. So I haven't been able to read the chat. I'm sorry, because I was rattling on my old Johnny Fettler's joined just in time for some child slaughter. Oh, thank you for popping in.
Have a little scroll through.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, blimey, I've probably slaughtered everyone, I think, in terms of their
Yeah, but it was good.
but yeah, I don't know what you people think. I mean, it's I don't know, the normies. It's just, don't they know this? They say, oh yeah, the population's too big, so they're saying basically all these millions of people that are on the earth now shouldn't be there. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They're saying there's so many people on this planet that don't deserve to be alive. That's basically what they're saying. They obviously dross it up in all these different languages. Oh yeah, we're saving the planet, which they're not, as we know that.
Read through some people's comments.
Yeah, well, Ben, as you say, they're wolves and witches, but yeah, it's a lot of it goes down to the real actual lives that people were leaving then. Like Ben said, an old-fashioned version of Montauk. Yeah, exactly. It's Yeah, don't worry, you're late, Johnny. It's good to see you anyway. But yeah, the first film at the White House was about child sacrifice. Amazing, isn't it, Green Tree? Yeah. Layers upon layers upon layers with the same players. Very true. Yeah. So my tea's gone cold now, but does anyone else want to say anything? Liz, do you want to add any points?
Oh, no, I'm depressed.
Oh, don't be depressed. But we got friends here. There's lots of people. I mean, I think Liz said it the other day. How she had conversations with people that she wouldn't have expected, where they were like at least interested in what Liz had to say about our way of thinking, if you like, which we wouldn't have expected those people to have said that. And I've had a couple of people at my work who, sort of said on the sort of sly that at least in some things that they think similar to me, and people should question things, and why can't other people see it? And that meant a lot, really, because maybe not as much as Liz in her work, but even in mine, there's a lot, especially in recent years, where you hear people talking where they picked up the propaganda, and people like us are seen as like the public enemy. So it's encouraging that I'm getting people, we're both getting people that you wouldn't have expected that are maybe at least getting a little bit of part of the picture, whether they're joining it all up. But things like what the farmers are doing, and the truckers, and Europe and America, these are encouraging. And maybe it is, I mean, again, going on to what I was talking about with these old stories of famine and starvation, I mean, that's what they're trying to create, this agenda that the farmers and that are fighting. I mean, it's crazy, these net zero things and taking the farmland.
Farmers have said it's orchestrated famine.
Yeah.
They're bankrupting the farmers, and they're calling it orchestrated famine.
I mean,
I don't know if they heard what I just said.
Orchestrated famine, basically what they're doing.
The farmers are saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Casey's saying it's not easy to hear, but important to discuss. Folk tales are important in many ways. Quite right. Oh yeah, put a link up, Green Tea, if you find this new study. But I mean, it made me think with this organised famine. It made me think, and we know all the sort of communist leanings of the organisations now, but it makes me think of it makes me think of what happened in Mao, in China, the communist revolution there. They had this new, was it Great Leap Forward, and they suddenly introduced all these supposed new farming methods and centralized things and all these sort of traditional ways of farming. They said, oh no, that's the old ways, we must do it differently, and introducing these different practices, and people being put in charge of it, these committees, and people obviously that had no clue about farming. And the result was millions of people died.
Well, that's what they're saying now. They're saying that rice fields are using too much water. They're not allowed to do rice fields anymore.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. And ecocide, farmers can be put in prison for ecocide now, which is going to cause a genocide.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to get, and it's, again, another part of this agenda, we talk about kids being taken away, or like in the folk tales, kids being abandoned. But like I mentioned about family courts, but you've got all this, again, another part of the agenda where they want kids, like the Brave New World thing, not being brought up by their parents, but to be sort of state run, and their education state run. So it's it is centuries old, all of this, in one form or another. It's incredible when when I was reading a lot of these quotes and talking about overpopulation, and population needs to be decreased. Obviously, again, they're talking always about the poorest, although they don't mind using them for in the factories and all the rest of it, when it's suiting them to make things for them, to make their profits. But so much of the rhetoric is about dehumanizing, and the child is at the crux of it all. That the child is. And when they said it was good, there was a guy writing an article who was 15. You know, so it's especially encouraging if young people get it, or at least resistant to what's happening, because that's obviously where they're trying to do it. They're trying to brainwash that generation so that when old farts like me, you know, we're seen as redundant, and other people are, you know, taking over. The young, supposedly the young have got all the ideas and the way forward, but then that's manipulated. But whether it's the child being removed or worse from their families, or the child being brainwashed to be this productive for the elite sort of member of society, in everything, the kid is at the crux of it, really, and that's what we need to save society for. There endeth the lesson. Cheers.
Go through some people's comments, babe.
So Green Tree said they're hitting the small traditional farmers here. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. There's all these laws coming, haven't there? I think about people, you know, small scale farming and people growing their own food. That's sort of happening again. All these things are worldwide, and there's also laws, isn't there, about, you know, natural medicines. You know, again, you know, people got no sense of irony when, you know, it's like, oh, we're supposed to be protecting the environment, but then if someone wants to do things that are really natural, they're banned, you know.
Yeah,
and it's
but you
got to be
pesticides that kill the natural bloody remedies.
Yeah, that's the real environmental obscenity, you know, not the gas of life, CO2. It's what they're doing with chemicals. And again, like with the medical thing, it's everything that's artificial is lauded as being the best way, and things that are natural and have been going for centuries, they're seen as evil, or at least something that should be controlled. Or they're talking now, aren't they? Things like just water and even air. It's like, you know, they've got to be controlled. They've got to be taxed. They're a source of revenue. You know, it's just
inhuman.
Yeah, it is inhuman. Whether the people or whether whatever's in charge is from somewhere else, but they're certainly acting in an inhuman way. That's right. So, and again, what's done with children is the most shocking example of that, really. But yeah, come on, we need to try and be. I don't want to get everyone too down on this thing. No, my bum's getting sore.
Oh,
my bum's getting sore. But it's sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm running out of words now. I'm running out of words.
There's a first for everything.
Oh, I'm a quite shy little. Let's leave it to him. That's my alter ego.
He's got nothing to say.
He's got nothing to say. No.
Right, you want to call it a day then, Fred?
Well, yeah, I think my posterior has decided that it needs movement.
Oh, Christ.
I don't mean it like that. I've just got to adjust my position and get up out of the chair.
Right. Say goodbye, everybody, then.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll send you your present, Ben.
Oh, thank you, Casey. Thank you for sticking with my gloominess. But
put yourself down.
We'll try and have something a bit more cheerful next time. We'll have a squirrel on a skateboard. We got squirrels out there
on skateboards.
Yeah. Promise you that next week.
Right, so now we've got to do the thing.
I've got to do the thing.
No, but what we have to do is we have to stay in that position for ages when we turn it off because it takes a few seconds to actually turn it off.
All right, I'm sorry.
And we got caught short.
Yeah, we got caught short.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well, we're going to get caught short, but just stay in the position. Oh, hold on.